Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. This is Jen with the Hearth and Tide. I thought that I would get cozy, sit down with a tea, and share with you on video. Feel free to sit down and watch this, or if you prefer, you can just pop it on when you're driving to work or on a walk and just listen to my voice. The things that I share with you today are meant to inspire you and prompt something within your own intuition to help you on your path. I've got an interesting story for you. When I first heard it, it hit me right here immediately. It's just something that completely blows your mind. The weekly oracle symbolism is of a tree. A tree grows two ways. Okay. Its roots into the ground, underneath the surface on one side, and on the other, it grows up toward the sky. This is such a beautiful representation of how we grow as humans. Anytime that you're going through a big change, you're going to undergo these two types of changes. It's like these forces that are pulling in opposite directions. That's usually why you feel so wonky. The root system and all that's happening underneath the surface represents the shadow aspects of yourself and the aspects of change that feel hard, feel difficult, the unknown. When you start planting seeds, you might not see full result right away, even though you want to see it right away. You're putting your trust into that. The more sturdy that root system goes into the soil, it's allowing that tree the stability to grow taller. We are watering, we are providing sun, we are giving it sustenance for growth, we're taking action, trusting in the unknown. And then over time, on the outside in your life, you begin to see this start to manifest into physical form. We're going to see that tree begin to flourish and grow taller and taller up toward the sky. And those two opposing forces together create this beautiful, stable tree, representation of growth within our own selves and our own life that allows us to stand tall and stand confident in who we fully are. My inquiry to you for this week's Wild Oracle is this. How can you begin to see the process of growth in a different way? Instead of saying, oh, change sucks, or I don't want to grow because it's just so hard. What if that was part of the process? What if that meant that you were on the right path because it's giving you clarity in order to move into the right direction? And that leads me into this week's spark. When you are feeling discouraged from something that you considered a failure, I'd like to share a personal story in hopes that it will help you see and reframe something in your own life. I don't believe that there is failure. I really don't. Everything is learning. We're always learning. And anytime that I'm experiencing that in my own life, I reframe it as, oh, it means that this journey that I'm on at the moment is not concluded yet. I am in the process. And there's something big that I can learn from this. There's an opportunity here for me to either change course or do something differently that's going to help me to grow in expansive ways. Back in 2011, I was applying to the police force. You had to go through these stages. One of the first was fitness test. Two components. There was one where you had to wear this weighted belt. you had to do this obstacle course within a certain period of time. There were two machines in this obstacle course. One of them, it's a push-pull machine. There's a significant amount of weight on it. You have to be able to push and maneuver your body around and then pull out and continue to maneuver your body. You'd have to do that once, and then you go to the grip restraint. So you'd pull down on these levers to activate this machine, and then you'd have to pull it in, basically simulating making an arrest. Obviously, when you go to the gym, there isn't a lot of equipment that simulate that. I had trained for a good year. When I went to the actual testing, they gave us a bit of time to try it. When I went up to these two machines, I remember this sinking feeling in my body because I tried to do it and I couldn't. It was like, I'm going to fail this. And it's not even force that's going to help, because when I went and did actual testing, I went full throttle as much as I could, and it didn't work. I left there feeling really deflated. The thought that I had in my head was, I'm too short. I'm 5'2". On a good day, if I'm on my tippy toes, my weight distribution is just not, I'm not going to be able to, no matter what I do, to make this happen. At the same time, people who had done it, there's got to be a way. Instead of saying to myself, okay, I can't do this, what I did instead was I got really curious. I asked myself a different question. What do I need to do to make this possible? What needs to change? Now I have more information. I now have clarity. I started getting to work with trying to figure out, how can I make this happen? The first thing I did was I reached out to people who do the exam. Do you offer sessions where people can come and practice? At the time of this, they do have that now, but they didn't at the time. They said those machines are calibrated a certain way, and you will only be able to have the opportunity to practice just before you do your exam type thing. Started doing some research online. Is there somebody out there that owns a machine like this? Is there somewhere that does practice testing? Time was a factor as well. I ended up coming across information from a college on the opposite side of the country. I live in Canada, and there's this college that specifically facilitates these workshops. I reached out and I said, this is my story and this is what I'm looking to do, and I'm not sure if this is a height thing or a weight thing or just my lack of strength. The person got back to me pretty quickly, one of the heads of the college, and said, me look into this for you. He said, don't let your weight and your height and all that be the thing that's holding you back, because it's not the case. The next day, he sent me a video. He actually went and found a girl in the college that was my height and my weight, around my age. She wasn't even in that program, but he just pulled her out of class and said, hey, can you come and do this fitness test? And he recorded this on video and he sent it to me. And that was within a couple of days. And he was showing me, it's the positioning of your body, where you place your hands, all these things, like how you handle your core, and to try those things and see if that helps. Now, I just want to pause there for a moment, because 48 hours before, I was in my head thinking, okay, this isn't the right door. This isn't going to happen for me. And within 48 hours, I had somebody that I didn't know sending me a video trying to help, just out of the goodness of his own heart. That was all because I decided to get resourceful and try something different and put myself out there and ask for help. That was really neat. Now, after that video, he sent me an email and he said, hey, it's spring break. If you want to, you can come here and you're more than welcome to use the machines and practice as you want. That opportunity was presented to me, and within that day, I had a flight booked and I was leaving in a few days to fly there in order to make this happen. Now, that's a pretty substantial example that I'm sharing with you. You might think it is, but it's not, because you are going to have these setbacks show up in your life. It's going to happen all the time, probably more often than it doesn't, okay? And you get to choose how you deal with it, right? And the opportunities come in when you decide that there are other possibilities. I ended up getting on a plane. My mom came with me. We made a trip out of it and stayed at a hotel. And guy from the college would pick us up in the morning, and he would take us to the college. And the first day that I went there and did the fitness test, I almost died. I was so tired, only because he had me do it about 5 times over and over. So I was exhausted, but I passed it within that first day. And he said, he's like, it's not because you're not fit enough. It's not because you haven't worked hard enough. You just needed to know how to situate your body in order to do it properly. And from there, it gave me so much confidence to go back and not even just get through the fitness test, but to get a really good time on it, because that was another piece they were monitoring. On top of that obstacle course, I also had to do the beep test after. And the first time that I went and did this fitness test, I was worried about just getting through it. And now I was going into it in this whole different mindset of, this isn't even about whether I'm going to pass or not. I know I'm going to pass, but now I want to kill my time. I want to get my time really good. And the whole trip, I was there, I think, for 3 days, training with this person who took it upon himself to help me. Completely changed my life in so many ways. I remember saying thank you to him and saying, I don't know how to repay you. What can I do? And he just said, I just want you to send me a text that you passed. And I would like a picture of you on graduation, that you not only passed that fitness test, but that you got in and you finished your training and you got to the other side of that incredible challenge. From that experience, that alone has helped me in so many other aspects of my life, because obviously that was just the beginning of that journey. And just the process itself is one thing, getting in is one thing. Once you get in, then you have to go through the training, and then you're in the real world on the front lines. And that in itself comes with a whole bag of new challenges. But it taught me that I can be an advocate for my life. And when I'm in growth, there are going to be moments where I say, I don't know how I'm going to be able to overcome this. And I get to choose whether I give up and say, yep, I failed and this is what it is, and I'm just going to lick my wounds and not try anymore, or I'm going to get curious, ask myself different questions. This is not the end of the journey. This is in my path for a reason, to help me expand myself even more. And I'm going to ask myself the question of, what is possible here? How can I turn what I'm seeing as a failure into a success? I hope by sharing this story with you, maybe there's something in your life, either in the recent past or present, or maybe coming up in the future, that you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. When you hit that barrier or that closed door where you say to yourself, I can't do this, I want you to stop, ask yourself a different question, get really curious, and consider what else is possible. from this place.